Hello, everyone. This is Scott with another Saturday service, and I am using a little bit of notes today, so I will be reading from the screen as I do this. Um, this one is entitled You Are Enough, Mind Hygiene and Impulses. This is for Saturday, April 13th to the 19th. I've been in Palm Springs for the weekend, doing a little work and doing a lot of driving and being around a lot of different places and talking to people. I kind of have a high heart today and an interesting perspective, talking to a lot of strangers. So, cueing from the places that we normally get our information from, we often get a lot of feedback because people know us and they like to contribute and collaborate, and we align with each other in a lot of ways sometimes. Um, Unless you got a good Gemini around, right? Um, and, but um, so we can hear a lot of the same information over and over and over again, and that's not always the case of everything. That's just a feedback of stuff we already know, which can, in a lot of ways, be very supportive, and we need to hear it. But sometimes we need to hear other information. So I like talking to strangers. I'm probably going to turn and talk to you on a long elevator ride because that's just me. I get that from my dad for sure. So this week, my question, before I jump into anything else, uh, and there'll be a much longer post on the Patreon for subscribers. There's a free version, which is the video. There's a longer version, which is the detailed information on the cards. They are both available to you. You're just a subscriber if you get the longer version with the information there. But I digress. My question for you this week is, um, what are you afraid of? And what are you afraid will happen to you or for another, like in the future? I've been dealing with a lot of things with people who have passed away, or been put in life and death situations, and we've been looking at documents and all these sorts of things. And like, what do you do? Where's the will? Like, who has access to these things? And the thing that really came up for me yesterday was, what do you fear will happen when this happens to you, right? And it doesn't have to be this particular scenario, but it's just this question. When you feel a fear come up in yourself, our response can be very defensive, it can be very protective. I'm looking for a more nuanced response to this question when I present it. Not for myself, but for you in this way, because here's what I want to say. The antidote to fear is being the response that you would like to see, to show up how you would like to see someone show up for you, in that particular scenario. When we encounter fear, it's training, when it's not related to anything. It's just an anxiety that's coming up, or it's a belief in a potential that's not happening. It's a belief. Fear is faith misplaced. It's a faith in something that's not happened, but it's a belief in the worst, right? So what's the response to that? Our response can be protective, it could be defensive, it can feel helpless, like whatever those things are. Valid emotions, terrible thoughts, valid emotions. It's designing how we would like to have someone respond by demonstrating it in our own actions. That was very highlighted to me. The energy right now is about affirming your strength. It's about keeping that in mind. When you read the weather report as a subscriber, think about like where you feel fear, you are touching a veil. It's a belief in an inadequacy of an overlaying reality on top of reality, right? It's shaping what you see for you. So the energy right now is very Aries, right? It's very prime. There's lots going on in the sky. Like shuffle this in with your astrology report. I'm not doing all that sort of stuff, but the key element is bolstering yourself. Is when we encounter the inadequacy and fear, I'm afraid if I do this, I'm going to be helpless. I'm afraid if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be stuck by myself. I'm afraid if I'm going to do this, I'm going to be blah, blah, blah. Whatever the word is, whatever the line item is that you have there for yourself about what you fear is going to happen, how do you become the person that shows up for that in the way that you would like to see in your own life today? And how do you start to be that person in your life? And it's not to say like shape your future around your fears, right? Like don't read into it so much. People ask me why I'm doing what I'm doing right now. Because when I see someone in a position in which they are helpless, my response is not what they deserve, how they got there and what it means, protecting my assets or what I need to do for myself. All of those things are handled because I'm an activated, actualized person. All of those things are handled for me. My real response is, that's you there. That's you there, Scott, that you see before you. What is your response to him? How would you like to show up to that? And that's the healer response. That's the master response. That's the adept response. That's the strong, evolved response. That's the spiritual response. Because if we're still in a place of me, mine, there's a time and place for that, in which it's necessary to do a retreat. It's necessary to pull away, but you can't live there. You can't live there. When we live there, we are primed to be tools for other people. We are primed to be used by other people because we are in a defensive, fearful place where we're only concerned for ourselves. We're talking about spiritual evolution. We're talking about bolstering strength. We're talking about Aries. I'm here. I have this power to do something. I'm just asking you, if nothing else sticks, right? If you see something that echoes where you fear to find yourself, first of all, remember, you are enough. You are enough. Stop the fear mongering. Stop the flinging back and the attitude. Stop the defensiveness. All of those affirm the inadequacy. You're enough. And then ask yourself, if you internally have what you need energetically and spiritually, you're enough. How do you show up in this situation when you're not worried about protecting yourself? You're not worried about protecting your energy. You're not worried about any of those things because you know how to handle them. You don't need to worry about protecting them, right? Because you could just say no. You could just walk away. And it's not about being right, and it's not about attitude, it's not nothing. It's just very simply, you are enough. So therefore, you don't have to worry about these things. How do you show up in this that best represents yourself, how you would like to see in the world? And that's the primary message for the week. Go out. I was listening to a podcast this week. I'll put the link in the profile. It is the Circleist podcast, and they had Thorn Coil on there, and they said, go out and find something beautiful every day. Go find something to cherish every day. I'm paraphrasing. I could be getting this wrong, and I apologize. But essentially, that was it. It's like, what's one beautiful thing today? And I think that that's probably the best advice that I would like to echo from that sentiment from Thorn this week, is that it's just really potent. It's just really potent because it also affirms where we can connect to something beautiful. This is an opportunity. Beauty is an opportunity to walk out of fear and into connection. So I just want to throw that in there. So, in brief, our guiding energy for the week is the Three of Pentacles. This was just a really great card. I have it in the what is this? The Cosma deck, and it is the just this really kind of like deserty view of um, of the cards. I feel like this is just where I was. This is Palm Springs, like, or maybe this is Saguaros, but like this is that energy, and that's that Three of Wands energy. And this really is inviting you to be actively creative, supporting collaboration, and working, within your spiritual systems, your groups, your partnerships, your deities, your guides, your elements, whatever that is. Be willing to learn in your collaboration. So it's not just about you. It's not just a you focus. You're building something energetically in every moment. That is the key, the hallmark for the week. Underlying, right? Underlying the unseen current this week is the shapeshifter. The shapeshifter, this is really about, there's an untamed potential. There's something emerging where there's more energy. And this can spill out as like fast inspiration, a quick action, like an impulsiveness, which sometimes is great. We want to be able to act on the fly, but it's also a temptation to not think about what we're doing. So be careful. Think about what you're doing, put a little bit more thought into it. The opposite end of this is that you find yourself overthinking every step and nothing's getting done. What this card is really saying is tap into the impulsive energy. Allow yourself to make a mistake, right? So it's just sort of watch that. Look for collaborative moments. Try not to do it all on your own. Be a little bit more thoughtful of things unless you're being overthinking, unless you're being overcritical. Our cards for the week are from the Lenormand, and these are tough ones, I got to tell you. So we have three cards. Three cards just sort of say like these are sort of advisory things for you this week. You have the birchwood, and the mountain and the letter. So this is to be careful of friction. The birch is like beating you over the head with the broom. I want you to think about the negative or repetitive patterns that are sapping your magical potency because you're feeding into these negative self-talks or these negative behaviors, engaging the drama in the way that you always do, defensive, snap back, and whatever the thing is, watch that. Put your dedication into your craft. Put your energy into that collaborative mindset. Put your energy into the you're enough mindset. Put your energy into the thoughtfulness, right? You want to watch this birch because this is tough. This is not going to serve you. This is going to put you back into patterns that don't work. The second one is the mountain. When we see the mountain, what are we seeing? Right? What are we seeing when we see the mountains? This reads as confronting the mountain, right? This could be looking at fixed patterns, things that you have to come over, things that you have to get to the other side of. This could be strong earth energies that are really like in the bedrock of your being or in situations which you have been navigating that you just continue to repeat them over and over again. It goes back to those first ones is what is your behavior? How is this really working in your benefit? If you're in the same pattern in your job, in your relationship, in whatever you're doing, and it's repeating itself again and again and again, you have to look at your part in it. Yes, everyone is in that, the collaborative energy. Dodge away from the fault thinking. Start to look at where people are at and what you can do about it in your own self, not how they can change, how you can change, right? Like that kind of energy. And the final one is the letter. So when we see the letter, this is a portent. This is a message. This is a watch for the clear guidance and the signs that are coming through. The challenges in your channeling and your communication breakdowns, how are these related to your spiritual path, right? I want to make the emphasis on the spiritual path this week because I really want to focus on the higher mind. I really want to focus on the high heart. I really want to focus on the internal conversation and less about the circumstances around you. Arguably, if the circumstances around you are very big and you're in danger, obviously you need to get out of them and you need to do what you need to do to handle those sorts of things. I don't think anybody I'm subscribed to that's subscribed here is in that predicament. I don't know, but just to say in general, right? This is to watch for the omens. When I look at the birch, when I look at the mountain, when I look at the letter, when I look at the three of wands, when I look at the shapeshifter, right? This can be as simple as you're being a little too hard, babe. You're making a mountain out of a molehill. You need to really see clearly what's happening here, right? It can be that easy, right? Go back to you are enough. I would focus on energetic hygiene this week. Again, it seems like I keep saying that, but we're in a time when a lot of dust is being stirred. Wash yourself. Um, Stay grounded in your spiritual practice. Collaborate consciously. Work on your craft skills. Clear your channels and ground the fire into a thoughtful way of being. You're enough. You can do this. You can go forward. I will be at the studio later this week, around Wednesday, Thursday-ish. Although if you want to make an appointment, I can come out earlier for you. I'm in the IE right now. Um, You can find me at starandstonellc.com. You can also subscribe to the Patreon. That is a great way to support the work, to fuel the creativity, to participate in the energy, and to get the full write up. At that lowest tier, that little $5 tier is what you get the full write up of this right here. Um, I hope this finds you well. I hope this finds you well. Blessed be, blessed be, blessed be. This is Scott C.K. Smith, and I hope you.